person must be put on notice, or at most
it's...
the court must make an order, an immediate order. Let that party be served with this order.
All right, let's bring you back to this subject matter, which we're focusing on now, which has got to do with the NFIU's recent position on what happens with funds from the meant to go directly to local governments. Now, yes, NFIU has said from the 1st of June that funds will no longer go, it will go straight to the accounts. But we also did look at Section 162 of the Constitution, say, look, there may be impediments. But first of all, what is your general impression about this approach to getting funds directly to local governments?
I think one of the greatest news I've heard in recent time is that particular pronouncement. If you remember vividly, other 8 years or 10 years ago, I was here on channels and I told you that the funds of local government council has been abused by the state governors. They are diverting these funds. This is direct allocation from the federal government, federation account, for the administration of local government councils. But the state governors have never allowed that particular fund to be used by the local government officers. They keep on diverting this fund over the years, and that's why all over the federation, there is no presence of development whatsoever with issue that pertains to constitutional responsibility of local government, because they don't have the funds. If you go to them and ask them, and they tell you this, they started first by ensuring that they don't even comply with the constitution of ensuring democratically elected government, local government officials. They appoint caretaker committee contrary to the provisions of the constitution. So when they appoint these stooges and cronies, any money that comes in, they will just give them little amount of money to go and pay salaries. The rest is diverted to other purposes other than the local government administration. So it's been going on, and we've been saying it, and everyone kept quiet.
Yeah, but
so I'm so happy with this pronouncement. So what the intelligence unit has actually done is to give life to the letters of the Constitution. There's a spirit behind it.
Did we also take into cognizance?
Yes.
Because some say that diversion, quote unquote, doesn't happen unilaterally.
Yes.
It's usually in cahoot with those local government officials.
Yes, because they're their stooges. That's why I said that this first of all started by not allowing democratically elected government, local government officials. So it's their stooges. And you cannot query whoever pays the piper, they takes the tune. So when they appoint you as a caretaker committee chairman, how dare you query a governor when he says, give me the money that belongs to you for other purposes? Because he's the one who has appointed you. You are not elected by the people. So there is no responsibility towards the people. Your responsibility is towards the governor who has appointed you. That is what they have started with. Or even if they conduct any local government election, those elections are usually a sham, a charade. There is no proper election. The State Independent Electoral Commission is usually not independent. Any political party that is in power in the state is 100% turnover, return. If it is PDP that is in power, it is 100% PDP members. So any opposition that is wasting money to go and contest an election for local government position is just wasting its time, because we will never win that election. So they started by that. So I am so happy with this new pronouncement. But the issue now is implementation.
Yes. This pronouncement, okay, going to the implementation. Yes, this pronouncement, what's the legal backbone that it has? You know that, I mean, if you go by the letters of the Constitution, the money goes straight into the state joint local government account.
Yes.
And then the state is now the one to move that money into the account of the local government.
That's correct.
Of course, you know that the Senate is also concerned that this instruction has to follow the letters of the law. So what's the backbone of this?
Now there has been a suggested amendment. Those amendments are still before the State House of Assemblies. You know, this particular House of Assembly has done very comprehensive amendments. Some of those provisions of the Constitution, some of us have been complaining. One of which is this issue of local government autonomy, financial autonomy. They have agreed in principle that local government should actually have financial autonomy in order to bring down development to the grassroots. Everyone is a product of local government. You are from a local government, even Aso Rock. If you look at it, it belongs to local government. So we must have a local government that is functional. Over years, for the past 16, 17 years, there is no single administration of local government in all the states of the Federation. No single. during the first 4 years of OBJ's administration, I remember vividly one local government chairman who happened to be my former boss in Kano, Mr. Kesu Ubaja. He was the chairman of my local government, Ikuano local government council. I remember, he dug a borehole in my village. That borehole was not functioning until 2 years ago when I went to give life to it. I mean, there were few things being done by the local government chairman then, including giving transformers. But after some time, for the past 16, 17 years, nothing has been done by local government all over the federation because of these funds not going directly to them.
What is the legal...
Now, the legal backing you are talking about, if you look at the section 162, you look at section 5, 6, 7, and 8, yeah, it says the money from the federation account goes into an account called State Joint Local Government Account. And the State House of Assembly now will enact a law that will now lead to issue of distribution of this fund that is in that account to the local government account. That is what the law says.
Particularly Section 8, 1628.
Beautiful says it goes, they have to enact a law.
Yeah, and the House of Assembly have to determine.
Yes, they have not done that. What, most of the state...
Do you see that happening?
Yeah.
Seeing that even the houses of assembly themselves are like appendages of the state governor. So how's that going to happen?
That's why I say that I'm now bringing this fight now to Nigerians. We cannot allow this to continue. What is the intent of those who drafted the Constitution in the first place? What was their intention in creating that joint account?
Mr. Ubani,
to ensure, I'm coming, sir. It's to ensure transparency for the local government funds to be administered for local government project, administration. But over time, this money has been diverted by the state governors for other purposes.
We get the point.
Let's look at the intent.
But the big question is this. Can the NFIU, can funds actually go directly to local government accounts without violating Section 1628?
I don't think there is any violation. And that is where people like this man that was in London, the former judge is dead now, we give life to the intent of drafters of a law. What did the people who drafted this law, what was their intention? Was the intention for local government funds to be used by state government? No, for another purpose other than for local government administration? And my answer is no. So let's look at the intent. Let's not look at only the pure letters of the law. Let's look at the spirit behind the law. The spirit behind the law of making sure you have that joint account is for local government account to be spent in a manner that is transparent and evidence of probity by the state government supervising. In fact, the section 7, subsection 7, look at it, says that the state also will have to give its own counterpart funding into that account for the local government administration. Look at section 7. It says after the federation account, you have gotten certain amount of money for the local government from the federation account to that particular account. The state also has to give its own revenue in order to administer the local government. Yeah, so are you following me? So it is important to understand the intent of that particular law. That is not meant for governors to be diverting that fund. It is meant for purely administration of local government council. So they are trying to give life to the letter by saying this is the spirit behind this law, that it is meant for administration of local government council and not for diversion.
But then what's the legality, especially when you consider that the NFIU has made this pronouncement? Yes. To let the local governments get the funds directly.
Yes, sir.
But the NFIU by itself is not necessarily in the Constitution or recognized by the Constitution and may form a basis for the governors to kick against this.
Now, if you look at their terms of reference, it's an arm, there's an international body. At the time, there was this issue of whether they should be independent from EFCC and all that. And when EFCC refused to give them independence, remember that Nigeria was sanctioned at the time, and then when they now gave them independence, Nigeria's that sanction was lifted. It's a very important arm of financial intelligence unit that every country must, create in order to ensure transparency and accountability in governance. So their role is recognized internationally. So they are a very important arm of government.
Are they recognized in the Constitution?
No, I have not seen them in the Constitution. Not every...
Don't you think that's a basis the governors might use and say that this is an
it's created by... It's an act of a National Assembly that created it. It's created by an act of National Assembly. The point is that it's not everything that must be in the Constitution. And a legislative arm, legislative arm can create any agency, and it's recognized by law. The point is that is it recognized by law? The National Assembly, created a particular, arm of government. And what they are doing is something that every Nigerian, I must tell you this, sir, every Nigerian must support this pronouncement. We must own this fight now.
Yeah, we say that it's. I think a lot of people want that.
Yes.
They want development at the local government level.
Beautiful.
But if Section 1628 says the amount standing to the credit of local government councils of a state shall be distributed among the local governments of that state on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the House of Assembly of the state.
Now,
it means that NFIU can't get those funds straight to local government accounts unless, of course, it has to be based on these terms. Isn't that what this means?
No, that is what the law says. But remember also, look at Section 5. Is it 5? Now, subsection 5, rather. Can you read it for me?
Well, it says it's the amount standing to the credit of local government councils in the federation account shall also be allocated to the state for the benefit of their local government councils on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the National Assembly.
So that is the basis upon which NFIU now is acting.
So what happens to 1628?
So what we're saying, what is the spirit? You have not gotten my argument.
I get your point.
My argument is that what is the purpose of the fund, this fund, that is purely allocated to local government?
But you have argued before that good intention should always be in cahoot with the law.
I agree with you. I'm saying that the law includes both the letter and the spirit. The law, you don't read only the letter without the spirit of the law. What is the spirit behind this particular enactment is to ensure that the money that is meant for local government is used for local government administration. So over years, we are not using this money for local government administration. So somebody comes and says, gentlemen, can we do the right thing?
So if you rely on this 1625,
yes,
it means National Assembly will decide how
that's what
local government...
Yes.
Is that supposed to be how the democratic dispensation is supposed to function?
Let me tell you this, sir. Let me tell you this. I know where you are trying to stress. You are trying to stress that subsection 8 is more important than subsection 5. The National Assembly has determined the autonomy of local government. The only thing is that the State House of Assembly have not yet passed that amendment. By now, we won't be talking this. And I've been saying all this. And I'm very happy with this National Assembly, the way they've been pressing and pressurizing that we must grant autonomy, especially financial autonomy, to the local government council. Almost everyone is in agreement, except the state government. And that's why the State House of Assembly are withholding passing that particular amendment so that we can move beyond all this argument that you guys are putting up now. Oh, we're
it's the law.
I'm saying that you guys are looking at the letters of the law. Look at the spirit behind the law. The money that is allocated to local government council, what is it meant for?
Well, in addition to that spirit.
Is it for local
In addition to that spirit,
yes,
yesterday we had a guest just sitting where you are, Shegun Akabasho, and he believes that this is one big mistake that has been made, especially if you do not attach the element of auditing of what gets to the local governments. How do we surpass and get to that point where we see that level of accountability such that this process is seen to be one that is working?
Now, accountability must be from, in all the tiers of government, both at the federal, both at the state, and both at the local government council. That is a mistake that is actually made by the Constitution in creating that joint account. They may have meant well. Oh, what we want is probity. What we want is transparency so that the state government can watch how these funds are disbursed. That's why they created that account. But we have discovered over years that there has been a very big mistake. That the best thing that should have been provided for in the Constitution is to allow that money enter into local government account, not anything joint. Then what we do now is to ensure that those monies are spent for the purpose it is meant for. That is, meaning that bodies like EFCC, bodies like this NFIU, bodies like even institutions like, they have legislative arm also at the local government council and they pass budget. They must work, and the people themselves, the highest bulwark against corruption is the people. The people themselves must know how much comes in. And that's why I'm so much in love with what Okonjo-Iweala was doing. Okonjo-Iweala was publishing how much all these local governments were getting in their own time, but now, I don't know who stopped it. I heard the governors told the Minister of Finance to stop that publication. Think they should resume that publication. Let us know what each local government is getting at every point in time. That also helps for accountability and transparency.
But going back to this issue of accountability, do you think the local government officials now, from June, which is how many days away now, from June, they will begin to receive this money. Do you think the local governments themselves are kitted are qualified, are ready to execute this law?
I don't even know what they mean by qualified, you know. They are a creation of the Constitution. Local
But you also said earlier that they are stooges of the state government.
No, but what we're saying that they are stooges, let's get first of all the writing.
Well, that doesn't mean that that's what they are.
Let's assume that that's what they are. When the money comes, I'm very happy with the measure put in place. You don't withdraw more than 500,000 naira in a day. That is cash. Any transaction now with the money that is in that account now must be by e-transfer or by check. In that mode, you now begin to watch what they are using this money for. Now, if they begin to withdraw 500,000 naira every day by cash, you know,
so in addition
the system
to that,
is alerted.
In addition to that,
yes, sir.
If states don't conduct local government elections,
yes, sir,
and they have transition monitoring committee headed by certain people,
yes,
doesn't it still defeat the purpose?
I think that the first thing we should get right is to ensure that these people obey the Constitution. Section 7 says you must have a democratically elected government officials at the local government level. Any state government that refuses to conduct, whether it's a sham one or is not entitled to any allocation. I think that is where we should start.
You forgot that you said the state independent commissions, when they conduct elections, is 100% delivery.
That's why also
again another challenge.
Probably INEC now, you know the amendment they made. The amendment is that INEC will be the one.
It wasn't signed now.
It's not yet signed. Part of the proposed amendment is that INEC now will be the one conducting election at the local government, because we have discovered time is sham election they've been conducting.
So what's going to happen to
gentlemen, you know what I'm praying?
What's going to happen to states that don't have local government chairman at the moment?
At the moment, no, there is no one. Most of them have transition chairman.
No, they have got.
So there you go.
Committee.
So it's a challenge.
Yeah, they have a committee in place. Yeah, most of them is committee in place. That's what we must insist. Can you go and conduct election first and foremost before you are entitled to this allocation? Let's insist on that. My brother, before I leave here, I'm begging. This particular piece of directive is something that I pray that will become implementable. I want the presidency to be involved. I want EFCC to be involved. We want this particular directive to be obeyed. We want local government to work.
Mr. Monday Ubani, former second vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association, thank you for coming on this morning.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, so we're back in a moment here. Stay with us.